Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, then, well, it's time to look at market figures, and Mr. Tajudeen Olayinka joins me via phone to analyze markets. Mr. Olayinka, thank you so much. We appreciate your time on the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, I want you to give us an overview of the performance this week. This is the last work week in the month of November. By next week, we're into the month of December. So what's your overview of the month of November, and what step are we taking as we move into the month of December? I'm thinking people will need so much of cash, and they might want to sell stocks.
Okay, well, November 2024 has shown a different sign, giving a different sign to the market in the value of, early counter rally. So, unlike 2023, when we had counter rally commencing as early as mid-November, we don't seem to have that this time around. And it's not also like that we will have it, in the early December. So, month of November 2024 has been, a different month. A different month that should have been, the normal month where we normally begin to see this kind of gradual build up to December, December rally. But we may see, much of that in, before December. Even though it's coming, rather late, but at least I'm hopeful that we will see that improvement in December. More so that investors will then like to position themselves, ahead of what we call in January, March, February, and March 2025.
All right, then. Before I let you go, I was speaking yesterday to an analyst in the UK, and I was asking, you always put your money where your mouth is. What sectors are you looking at? The banks are actually recapitalizing, and we know that a lot of work is being done, and they're doing pretty well in the market. Mr. Tajudeen, give us some advice. Yes, we're supposed to pay for this, but come on, just give us some advice. Where do we put our monies? Those that are ready to invest at the moment. What sectors are attractive at this time?
Well, that sector seems to be doing well. One so that they also, raising new capital. Even for the sector, we also do some kind of improvement because no matter what happens to the economy, that sector seems to have a way of showing, giving some confidence that yes, no matter how you look at inflation or how the economy is growing, that sector always has something to contribute. So we also begin to look at the consumer goods sector. The bill is not doing much because of consumer fatigue and of course poor purchasing power of consumers. So, but our big sector, oil and gas industry, oil and gas sector, and telecom, we may see improvement there, in the coming year, especially if anyone is trying to position for long-term growth or long-term profitability.
So much, Mr. Tajudeen Olayinka. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Now, Asian shares fell today and the dollar fell slightly as investors pondered U.S. data that showed progress in slowing inflation had stalled even as the economy remains resilient, while the rising geopolitical worries kept risk sentiment in check. Now, MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside Japan was 0.4% lower, with Japan's Nikkei up 0.48%. Features indicates European bourses were set for a higher open, with Euro Stock 50 features up 0.57%. German DAX features climbing 0.38%, FTSE features 0.17% firmer. European session will focus on the French market as investors fret over the fate of new government and its budget. The blue chip CAC 40 sank to its lowest level since early August. That's on Wednesday. United States consumer spending increased slightly more than expected in October, suggesting the economy retained much of its solid growth momentum early in the fourth quarter. But progress on lowering inflation appears to have stalled in recent months according to the Commerce Department's Bureau of Economics Consumer Spending, which accounts for more than two-thirds of the U.S. economic activities, rose of, two-thirds of U.S. economic activities. It rose at 0.4% last month after upwardly revised 0.6% advance in September. Spending rose at 3.5% rate in July to September quarterly, accounting for the economic 2.8% growth pace. Toyota Motors global outputs declined for the ninth consecutive month in October, dragged lower by big falls in production in the United States and China. But the decline is mild compared to previous month. The world's biggest automaker also logged its first rise in 5 months for global sales, which grew 1.4% to more than 903 vehicles, a record for October. The automaker said it produced 893,164 vehicles globally, down 0.8% compared with 8% fall in September. Production in the United States tumbled 13%, hurt by a 4-month production halt of SUV models Grand Highlander and Lexus TX due to an airbag issue. In China, where competition against local brands remains intense, output slipped 9% and also produced 13% fewer cars in Thailand amid soft demands. And the U.S. Federal Trade Commission has opened a broad antitrust investigation into Microsoft, including its software licensing and cloud computing businesses. The probe was approved by the Commission's chair, Lena Kane, ahead of her likely departure in January. The FTC is examining allegations that the software giant is potentially abusing the market in productivity software by imposing punitive licensing terms to prevent consumers from moving their data from the Azure cloud service to other competitive platforms. The Commission is also looking at practices related to cybersecurity and artificial intelligence products. The world software giant has declined to comment on the allegation. Competitors have criticized Microsoft practices, which they say keeps customers locked into cloud offering Azure. And crude oil prices drifted today after a surprise jump in U.S. gasoline inventories, with investors focusing on OPEC Plus meetings this weekend to discuss oil output policies. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude sells for $68.67 per barrel, with a downward price review of 0.07%. Brent also sells for $72.83 per barrel, with Bonnie Light selling for $78.62 per barrel. And it has a downward review of 2.84%. And for the OPEC basket, dealers are offering $72.96 with a downward price review of 0.84%. Well, that's our show today. Before I go, let me tell you, gainers for today, we have Vitafoam, we have Aradel, Afin Cocoa, FTN Cocoa, Sovereigns, Oando on the gainers list. On the losers chart, we have Prestige Assurance, Unilever, Austin Laz, John Holt, and Etana Oil. The market is up, closing the market positive today. And that's our show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. We talk more business. Stay safe. Get